Hey, hey. All right. Here we go. I'm live. Okay. So we are here for the second podcast. Welcome, welcome. If you come in, tell me where you're watching from and maybe when you're watching it, if it's not live. And I'm guessing most people won't be until I get a regular time. But anywho, I wanted to come on and talk to you guys about what this podcast is about and the new way that I am talking about. There's definitely seems to be things coming up each week, so I'll talk a little bit about that as well as let me just dive right in. Um so when I came up with I've been recognizing that there is and living and embodying it in my own life, a new way of moving through things that really goes back. It's been progressive, but probably started about 4 to 5 years ago. And parts of this have been there, in my life for a long time. But I've just been noticing more and more, basically, as the world's craziness is happening around us, and it just seems like it keeps getting more and more lately, like I said, over the last 4 or 5 years. But as the world has been a little more crazy, and many of us are kind of waking up to what's truly going on here in this world, as well as remembering truly who we are, you are, I am. I'm thinking mostly about myself here, but like each of us going inward as we're truly becoming more aware of that and waking up. There's this new way of being. That's like one of my favorite words, being, like capital BEING. It's a way of being, usually in the moment, by the way, being that'll help you move through here with ease, grace, discernment. That's an important one. And love and neutrality. That's another important point to bring up. But so I'm going to be talking about different ways, things that come up, and ways that we can move through this that will help you. And some of it will be me speaking it into being, and there will also be some practices or some activations or maybe even some meditations that will be coming up that will just help us move through whatever we're going through. And whether you're watching this now or you're watching it in a week from now or a month from now or a year from now, whenever it is, it's the right timing for you. It's interesting how those things work, right? So you're here right when you're meant to be here. So one of the key points to this new way of being is to be able to go within yourself. So we want to always go inward. While there's a lot of stuff going on outside of us in our lives, in the world, perhaps with our friends, perhaps with our family, it's key that you're tending to yourself first. That always comes first, and then going outward and helping others as you can. But that being said, it's always about going inward first and about you. It's that should always be part of the way. Is yes, we need to go inward. Also, it's important to be able to embody and recognize your intuition and your discernment. So that's another key point that I'll be discussing and talking about different ways to do that and moving within yourself. So while we say that, let's go ahead and take a deep breath. that always brings you back to you and your center and recognizing yourself. So that's key. So that gets into my next part of listening to your body. So, one of the things that's really important as we are tapping into ourselves more and more and our knowings and how we are meant to move through it is to trust you, yourself, and your intuition and your inner knowings. And how do we start that? By paying attention to your body, recognizing your physical body. Now, there's way more than our physical body here in play. You know, there's our physical body, there's our energy bodies, um, there's our mental bodies, our spiritual bodies, our emotional bodies. So there's a lot going on. Um, Within this body, but also in the energy around your body as well. Because you are not just this body, you are what comes into this body. So there are so many intricate parts to that that you don't need to overthink, you don't need to worry about it. But as you start to sit with yourself and pay attention to your physical body, you will be able to start feeling into your energy bodies as well. So it's key to drop into yourself. And breath is one of the best ways to do it. So deep, slow breath. So let's go ahead and take one of those together, right? I like to hold it for a second or two and then slow out. So maybe you want to do one, maybe you want to do three. When I first started doing this for myself, when I came into this experience on my own, no one guided me into this. I just knew I had to do this. I have had people that have helped me along my path, different teachers, mentors that have come in. And when that happens, they're just there to remind you more of who you are. And a good guide, leader, teacher, mentor is not going to want you to lead them. They're going to want to lead you home to yourself, to your own knowing, to your own power. So, that being said, sit in your body, pay attention. You can do it with your eyes closed. You can do it with your eyes open. In the beginning, it helped me a lot to do it with my eyes closed. And like, for instance, I remember when I first started doing this, I really could notice the tension in my lungs and how it was actually difficult for me to inhale deeply. Um, I think that was like one of my first things that I noticed about my body. And then next, I started to notice the energy in different areas of my body. I know I was very guided into energy as part of my path and my way in. So if you're watching this, this may be an important one for you as well, because, you know, we find the people that we resonate with and the energy that they bring through. Often will show you something that is meant for you as well. So I started to notice a lot of energy in my solar plex, which is sort of like above your navel, and just that energy in there. I also started to really feel my throat energy. Not my throat, I'm sorry, my heart energy as well. But yeah, the solar plex, and that's actually where I feel it right now as well. So, and it moves. The more you pay attention and then the more you start to feel into yourself and your body, you also will get intuitive knowings, you'll get discernment of what you need. And so it's important to be able to listen. And when I say listen, it can come through to you in many different ways. It's not like somebody whispering in your ear, or maybe it is. Sometimes for some people it is. For me, it comes in as claircognizance. It comes in as knowing, but I will see things. I will have visions. I also will have, usually when my eyes are closed, but not always. And I will hear things as well. That's another way it comes in. But I really sense things. So there's like multiple ways that it comes in for each of us. Some people will smell things that aren't necessary in the room. Some people will taste something and it will remind you of an experience. So whatever it is that comes in for you, just pay attention. It's like a little message and it's guiding you to knowing something deeper about yourself. And so for instance, this week with me, I was noticing and recognizing that my body was coming up as a big theme. One of the reasons I'm talking to you guys about it is it was a reminder of bringing in practices of moving my body, nurturing my body in different ways. A lot of times for me, that's through breath. I told you sometimes I get this like tightness. Um, and then I just need to breathe. And when I breathe, it centers me. It's also another good practice while you're breathing deeply is kind of, I like to say drop it. You'll hear people say drop into your heart. You just kind of feel like this energy that goes into your heart space. Now you're focusing on your breathing, but I can also feel that energy sitting in my heart space. And lately, it's been sitting in between my what you might call your higher heart. So that's between your throat chakra and your heart chakra is the higher heart, the thymus, the azare. Um, that area I think has been coming on for me more recently. But yeah, you just pay attention to yourself, drop into your heart space. Usually that's a beautiful place of presence and being where like other things can melt away. Just let the other things melt away. It doesn't matter what you're going to make for dinner. It doesn't matter. Now, things will come in and you'll be like, oh, my stomach, I'm hungry. I'm this, I'm that. Yes, that comes in as well. But you just keep recentering yourself in your heart space. And the more you do this, the more it'll be easier to like let go of all the other things and come back into your center, into that space. So, my biggest recommendation to you, no matter what's going on, we can always take a deep breath, no matter where we are, what we're doing, that can help recenter you back into yourself and recognize your body. What am I needing? Is there information in this? There also is physical pain in our bodies. That one is a challenge. But with that one, I also recommend breathing into it and trusting anything that comes up. I also have been getting a lot this year in particular, been getting a lot of um, knowings about what I should be doing, primarily about detoxing my body, actually, which if you would like, I can come on and discuss that at another point. But there's right now we're just talking about feeling and breathing, feeling into your energy body and getting to know yourself better. And when you do that, oftentimes nothing will come in, and that's perfect. That's just you coming into a calming space. Other times, depending on what's going on with you in your life and um, at different moments, we have more messages that come through, and other times it's just silent and you're just wondering, wow, what should I be doing? What should I be knowing? And if nothing's coming through, that's completely fine too. Sometimes that's part of your process of starting to get into a rhythm within your own being and your own self. So no matter what it is, accept it, trust it, love yourself through it. And I also do highly recommend journaling. So after you drop into this space, you might get things. Well, you can go into a meditation if you would like as well, or you can go into like a journaling meditation and just see what comes up. Just let whatever wants to come out, come out. And I get a lot of great information that way. A lot of times it's a knowing, Most of the stuff for me comes out in writing, actually. A lot of it comes out that way. And actually, the longer I've been doing this, the more that just comes through and I just know. But the writing helps spark it in a new direction. And to be honest, that's been a lifetime thing for me. I've been doing that since I was a child, but I really, really got into the journaling and bringing through a lot of information for myself. I would say in my mid 20s. And now I'm 51. So yeah, I go back and read my journals. That's a whole nother um, podcast for sure. But let's go into our journaling. You can always go back and read it later. Sometimes I journal things through and I'll read them back later that week, later that month, a year later, 25 years later. And there's a message in there that I needed for myself. And maybe I didn't understand it in the time. Maybe I kind of understood it in the time. But it's interesting how the right things come through to you and you find them if you're following your path, your way, your inner knowing, your inner guidance, your discernment, your intuition. So let's take another deep breath. So, another thing that might be helpful for you as you're going through your day is not only breathing in and recognizing your body, but also start paying attention to things that are truly part of you, or is it something that's been programmed into you from childhood, from experiences you had, usually not easy experiences, by the way. But just pay attention to that because a lot of things are coming up to be seen and released. And part of the way through this right now is to recognize those things, and just in observing them and paying attention to them, oftentimes they will dissipate in your life or you will be less attached to them in that way and you can move past it. So um, it's important when you're observing, you're doing it from a higher perspective. There's no judgment, there's only self love. And yeah, I found that that was key because you can't get in these mind loop cycles of like giving yourself a hard time. Why is this coming up again? What is going on? Well, if it's coming up again, it's probably a new level of being seen. I've noticed also that there's like a spiral or a circle, and we may come around to something again, but when we come around to it again, it's a little bit on a higher level. And then it might come around again, and each time you may deal with it and be releasing it a little bit more or recognizing it and not letting it have any power over you and the situation. It's like part of the process of taking back your own power. Sometimes it's easy and it's quick, and other times it's not. So try not to judge yourself. Just observe it, recognize it, journal about it if you want, or just let it go, whatever it is. It can be very challenging to untangle ourselves from some of the experiences and way of being that we've been through. And a lot of times it goes to this lifetime, but it can also be something that's ancestral, that's been brought down in your family lineage line of something that is coming up for you to work through for and try to release it for the whole line. So that's also an option. So don't overthink it when it comes up. Just recognize it and then journal about it if you want, let it go. Anything that comes up for you, just pay attention to that. And that's the piece of information you need in that time. And if nothing comes up, that's okay too. It really is. It's just part of the process. I'm just looking at my notes because I wanted to make sure I had all the points. So it's also when you're doing things in your life, it's important to really focus sometimes on one thing at a time. You'll notice you're doing the dishes, you're um, out sweeping the walkway. I don't, whatever it is, a lot of times it is chores like that. You could be in the shower, washing your hair, and you get these knowings and these ideas and these things that come up. And when you are doing one thing at a time, you don't get overwhelmed and you can really be in that space of knowing yourself and often having like divinely inspired thoughts and ideas. So I think that's where I'm going to stop it here. I have a few more notes, but I don't want to get into too much all at once because again, we will be going through different things as we continue this podcast. And so I just would like to go out with a few deep breaths and remind you, do this throughout your day. Tap into your body. If you need to, put reminders in your phone. That's how I started in the beginning is, maybe 2 or 3 times a day, there's a reminder that goes off, that a little alarm. Okay, feel into your body. Pay attention. What's going on with you? And if you can designate some time at the beginning or the end of the day or wherever it works for you, that's the most important part, that is working, that time works for you. Or just here or there as it fits in, and sit down and do this maybe a little longer than you would if you did a timer and you're in the middle of your day doing stuff. But it's important to do it all the time, but then have time set aside where you're just focusing on that. And then perhaps journaling, or some people like to voice record if you don't want to journal. It just depends on what modality works best for you. So that's what I would like you guys to remember and think about and work on. Let's pay attention to our bodies. Let's pay attention to ourselves. Let's notice what's coming up. Notice what's going on for you. If there's like patterns, pay attention to that in your thought process and things that you're feeling. Sometimes the thought process and the feelings are together. And also to another thing I started noticing a lot when I did this was I was noticing areas in my life that weren't me, but they were ways of how the environment or my thoughts or how I wanted things done. There was like some controlling behaviors going on. And once I started noticing that control, that, it's everywhere, by the way. So you'll start noticing it in the systems in our society. You'll start noticing it in, it's everywhere. But start noticing it in yourself first and try to pay more attention to yourself. When we start focusing so much on other people, a lot of times that's just distracting. And if something's going on with other people, what's the message in it for you? What do you need to work on within yourself? What's it bringing up for you? Because I guess that's another issue to bring up, which I'm sure you'll hear me say again, is oftentimes it's really easy to look at someone else and point out all the things that you think are wrong or judge them and know what's going on. So just pay attention to that judgment too of yourself and other people, because what it always comes back to is you. We want to, oh, this is what my child should be doing. This is what my parents should be doing. This is what my friends should be doing. This is what my coworkers should be doing. This is what my significant other should be doing. And it's really, while you'll notice when you change things within yourself and you start noticing things within yourself, everything around you starts to change and fall in line. And yeah, that's an interesting one I should bring up for another podcast as well. But I guess this is some fun little tidbits for you guys to start with. So this is part of the new way. You got this. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for coming to watch. And there will be more I'm hoping to come each weekend and add another one of these. So I will see you on the next one. Like, comment, share if you come watch. It means a lot to me to know who watched the video. And, it just helps me if you like or share. So somebody out there needs to hear this besides you, I'm sure. So if there's anyone you think of, please share it with them. All right. Thanks so much. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.